Hello, YouTube. So I don't know if you've noticed, I have, but there aren't a lot of very good videos up at the moment about Calvados. So I thought I would give it a shot, try to explain what the hell is up with this stuff, and review maybe 4 examples for you. So um, let's begin. Okay, so Calvados is the most famous spirit from Normandy in northwest France. It's not the only one. There are others, and it is a brandy made mostly from apples, but also with a mix of pears. So it's a DOC. It's a geographical determination with some rules about how you make the stuff. There's basically sort of one larger region, which is Calvados, and then two subregions. And I want to start with the sort of most exclusive subregion, which is the Pays d'Auge. That's kind of on the eastern side of the main region. Kind of, think Pennsylvania-ish in U.S. terms. The thing to know about the Pays d'Auge Calvados, and it's important because they're the most, generally most of the ones you see on the shelves in the U.S. are from this region. The big thing to know about them is they're all pot distilled. There's also rules about they have a very long fermentation, like a month and a half, and tons of rules about the apples and varieties allowed, and they have to be at least 2 years old. So that's the Pays d'Auge. Now there's another appellation called the Domfrontais. I've had exactly one Domfrontais in my life. I liked it a lot, but you're not going to be able to find a lot of it in the U.S. It's sort of more southwest of the region, maybe more Texas-like, maybe more Arizona. The big thing, so two big things about Domfrontais. They are basically follow the same rules as the standard larger appellation, except you use a larger proportion of pears. I believe it's at least 30% pear, because they got lots of pears down there. And also it needs to be a little bit older. You need to age it for 3 years instead of just the regular 2. But in some ways, the most interesting region to me is just the wider Calvados region, which for the most part, so again, age 2 years, it's got to be mostly apple. But you also get, as far as the way they're distilling it, it's usually not pot stills. It's actually sort of traditional column stills. So we're talking, these little archaic-looking monstrosities carted from town to town, where everyone sort of distills their stuff, like in Armagnac, and to some extent like in the French West Indies, like Rome agricole. So we're not talking, pushing it up to pure alcohol here. It's coming off the stills, usually around 70% or so. So it's still got tons and tons of character. It's just not, pot distilled. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to these guys before I taste them. This guy needs a little bit more. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so that's the deal. Basically, it's apple brandy with a little bit of pear. If it's Pays d'Auge, then pot distilled. Otherwise, usually column distilled. Okay, so let's go down the line here. What I've got is I've got two just regular vanilla Calvados, Calvas, as they are referred to by old Frenchmen. Two regular Calvas, and two from the Pays d'Auge region. So let's just kind of go down the line. I'm not going to try these neat, and then I'm just, I've added a little bit of water to them, and we're going to just try them, as I would actually drink them. So we're going to start off with this Claque-Pepin. I don't know if you can see this. This is a fine, which is basically it's basically VS for people in English-speaking countries. It means it's 2 years old minimum. So absolute minimum that you can. This is about $30. Claque-Pepin is the apparently a sound made by the seeds when you shake certain kinds of apples. And And let's see, I was intrigued by this because it's brought in by Heavenly Spirits, which is a terrific value importer, and also just because they mention in the write-up that there's a lot of fruit from the Domfrontais going into this particular bottling, and I happen to like that fruit very much. So let's give this a whirl. So column distilled, remember. Okay, you're not missing this. This is cider apple, huge up front. Maybe some other fruit, like some maybe golden raisins coming through. Dried cherries, maybe some like cough syrup. Pear, maybe more like I don't know, pear peel more so than actual pear fruit. A little bit of a kind of like old dirt, like an old dirty basement with maybe it flooded a couple of years ago and there's still some dirt left in there. Like peanuts, but like boiled peanuts, maybe. A little bit floral, a little bit of a flower blossom thing. Maybe some clover honey. Not fancy honey. This is just good old fashioned clover honey. And it's just kind of pastry, like apple pie, just straight up apple pie with Christmas spices, like a nice homemade crust. On the palate, again, it's really obvious where this is coming from. Sour, bitter cider apple, but a little bit of Jolly Rancher creeping in there. This isn't totally dry. But most of the drying is actually coming from there's some fairly fresh Limousin oak in this. So there's some oak tannins. So like black tea, maybe, regular black tea mixed with a little bit of lapsang. There's a little bit of like smoke in there. Mm-hmm. That floral note again. A little bit of acacia honey, actually. The really funky floral herbal honey. Alfalfa honey too. That's a very kind of slightly cinnamony one. Kind of something herbal in there, like especially on the back end. It's very cooling. Skins, more apple skins than pear skins this time. Black pepper on the finish. A little topsoil. Actually, the finish is holding on quite nicely. It's a nice combination of big slab of wood. It was pretty quick. I mean, it's 2-3 years old tops, combined with a very fresh spirit, and it's delicious. Again, $30. I'm going to give this 83 points. If you're looking to hop into Calvados, give yourself a little bit of a break from rum or single malts or whatever it is. I mean, this is pretty, low stress, low risk. This is a great bottle to throw in. Remember, column distilled, and column distilled spirits are often a little bit nicer. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, 83 points for the Claque-Pepin. Set that over there. This is the oldest thing here. I actually picked this up on a trip to Lithuania, so it seems to be pretty available in the European Union. But I have apparently got to the States at one point. This is a Garnier Calvados Trevo, 30-year-old. I paid like 70 euros for this. And bottled at 42%. The previous one is at 40. A lot of these are low proof, but they're such big spirits you almost don't notice. You don't mind that much that the ABV has been knocked down a little bit. Okay, 30 years old, but in Calvados they tend to use larger casks. They tend to use 1,000 liter, 2,000 liter casks, much larger than anything you get away with in Scotland. so that the impact of age is not as immediate. Um, this is okay. So there's still a little hints of cider apple going on in there, but this is just like it's very dense. It's like just old cellars forever. Maybe it's with some cider apples fermenting in the back. Just damp wood, damp like dirt, damp books maybe. Also a little freshly mown grass. Um, some gummy worms. There's something like Akantoshan in here actually. It's a little bit like triple distilled malt whiskey. Gummy worms, not gummy bears. They're different. At least to me. Tea, but it's not really tea. It's more like just like old tea bags that have been like sitting for 3 days in the in the summer. Um, a little hint of Francia, like a little old furniture in there, but not too much. We're not in sort of old Armagnac territory here. Maybe like some. There's dried fruit, but it's like old dried fruit. It's like prunes that you haven't touched in 2 years. Some cardboard, but nice cardboard. A little wax, a little walnut shell, pine needles, kind of mineral, like a white, like a Sancerre, like a really minerally white wine. Um, this is this is a great nose. I mean, it doesn't smell quite as old as it actually like 30 years is old. This is more like 30 going on 20. But it still smells super old. Like the tertiary characteristics are really kicking in here. Okay, here we go. Honestly, kind of a straight across translation from the nose. Um, little hints of clean cider, clean, nice, apple cider on the front end, but then it's just shut down by, you know, old cellar, damp books, damp dirt, grass, old timey candies, and a very, like it's not actually that tannic, but the wood just feels very heavy on this. I don't know how to describe it. Mm-hmm. Black tea, all the black teas, like all of it for days. Little dried flowers, little bit floral, um, white pepper, like river clay. You just ate some river clay. Like a mix of, if you could put Apple Jacks, the cereal, in like aged in French oak somehow. Um, that might be close. I mean, really, the impression I'm getting is actually kind of champagne-y. There's a kind of cereally uh, note that's kind of closed in by the wood. It's very nice. Not killing me. Um, there's a certain lack of this is sort of maybe the aging hasn't like put this over the hill or over the hump for me so much. It's still a little bit simple. It's supposed to be replaced, you know, one kind of simplicity with a slightly better kind. But it's very good. And if you're looking for a cheap 30-year-old booze, I mean, and you're in Lithuania or the European Union or something, I mean, you're not going to do better than this. So I'm going to give this like 86 points. That seems fair to me. Mm-mm. It's just a great sipper. I'll put that aside for right now. Moving on to the big boys, the pot distilled boys. Okay, Daron This is another fine. One of the nice things about Calvas is they often come in half bottles. So I grabbed a half bottle of this, and I'm a little bit okay with that decision. All right, so this is a Pays d'Auge. This is one of the big boys, and on the nose, just so these ferment for a long time. Not maybe it's not as crazy a fermentation as you can get in Jamaica or something, but yeah, I mean, then it just sends. My suspicion is that's what sends the aromatics over the top, because this is just bonkers. Jolly Ranchers, forever, like high end cigarette smoke, like American Spirits or something. Tons of tar and a little dish soap. It smells a little bit rough. If I'm honest, if you give this a little more time, the soapiness does blow off a bit, and you do get a little bit more cider apple, but it doesn't blow off completely. It's just dominated by like flowers and floral notes and perfumes and soap and tar. Just lots of tar. Maybe a little bit of like kind of a Fino sherry, more manzanilla, I guess, sort of that seaside minerality note. Maybe a little like cheap Moscato too, like dump that in. Okay, on the palate. Okay, watch my face. Ooh. Bottled at 40%, still kicking my ass. So a little aggressive. Jolly Ranchers, but very dry. Soap again. Tar forever. That the smoky note is not really so much there on the palate. A little brininess actually. Did they sneak some rum in this? Absinthe, apple, but like whole apple. Like you're getting more skins and core than you are the actual fruit. Very, I mean, complicated and interesting, but just a little rough, a little tough to take. Not a lot of wood. This actually tastes less woody than this does. You're getting a little wood tannins, but there's a drying effect, but I think it's actually coming from the spirit, not from the wood. Yeah. Crazy aromatics. Tarry, soapy. It's not that I don't like this, but I think it doesn't like me. So, well, I mean, I wrote down 79 out of 100, but I think that's actually, this is more like an 80 minus. It's sort of like, you know, there's something really interesting going on here, but it's just brutal. And it's that brutality and that off note which sort of gives it the minus. I mean, that's why I use minuses, because of the situation like that. Okay, 80 minus. Let's move on. Now this is an independent bottling from Bapt and Clem, which is the Darros folks, of another Pays d'Auge. This time a 6-year-old from Drouin, which is a very very respected producer. And this is apparently there's a little box. Here it is. Here it is. And there's a little. Give me a minute. There's a little booklet inside, which gives you very little information except for the fact that it's 2 different barrels that have been combined. So we're talking like regular 200-liter barrel sizes with this, more so than the gigantic things that you would age something like this in. So this is a little more This is a little more new school. 6 years old, as opposed to the like 2 on this thing. Um, Also bottled at 43%, which is kind of nice. And it's an independent bottling. I thought it looked fun, so I grabbed it. Definitely more woody. This is way more, in your face with the French wood than the previous one. Just fresh French oak kind of Limousin. So you're getting prunes, golden raisins, like Assam tea, like black, like big malty black tea, some black pepper. But behind that, you're not getting a lot of apple. You're really getting those sort of same floral perfumey notes. A little bit of tar, fresh grass, like a little Jolly Rancher, but more like gummy bears this time. I'm going gummy bears, not worms. Maybe some apple peel. What this really? Okay, so wait, citronella candle. That's what that is. Kind of like Chardonnay, but like a steer, serious Chardonnay, like a Chablis, like a oaky, Grand Cru Chablis or something. But also this smells uncannily like an MGP bourbon. The plant in Indiana that everyone gets their bourbon from. There's a little bit of that in here. Okay, so on the palate. Oof again. Very dry, very just tannic. All the moisture has been just ripped from the sides of my mouth. Grass, French oak, gummy bears thing again. Little soapy floral. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Definitely soapy floral. And it's not the. I know this is weird to say, but it feels like it's not just the oak that's drawing my mouth out. It also feels like it's almost the spirit itself doing that somehow. Black pepper, the acacia honey is back. It's a kind of nutshell thing, like burned nutshells. Natural, sun-grown cigar leaf. A little like sherry, like Old Oloroso. Some fennel in there too. Like I don't know, like old leaves, something. Old leaves. Let's go with that. And maybe like overstewed green tea. Let me give this one more try. But it has a sourness to it, which is in a way like a. I always get a sort of sourness out of MGP bourbon too, which is why I bring it up. I don't think it's actually the spirit doing that. I think it's almost. I don't know what cast these. Maybe these actually were like old Chablis casts or something. I have no idea. But there's a kind of. I don't know, a kind of lemon pithy sourness going on in here, which is mixed in with the tannins, which is kind of weird and fun. Okay, one more shot. I like this a lot better. But I still don't think it likes me. At this 84 points, this is actually a really hard one to grade because I feel like if you threw it in some more neutral oak and just like I understand why they would age Calvados traditionally like this in these sort of giant wooden tanks rather than traditional barrels because it probably needs that kind of like this kind of spirit just needs a long time to settle the hell down before you can. It's sort of going to be nice to you. So winner by score. Um, this is really interesting. This is I'd love to try some other ones. But in a way, like the sentimental favorite for me is this guy because you can its Heavenly Spirits is pretty well distributed. You can grab this, tomorrow if you want it. Probably if you got any kind of decent liquor store, and hey, you've got your way into Calvados for and it's something that's probably going to beat out most single malts and stuff at that range. Um, what am I going to say about this? So at the present moment, um, at the present moment, I would love to try one of these in, like a 15, 20-year old, something like that. Because I feel like at that point, maybe the spirit would have kind of come around enough um, to be easy to appreciate. But, if you just want something to drink, you don't want to, drop 20, over $100 on a 20-year-old, um, Péage or something. I mean, in a way, I think the ones I would recommend are actually the ones that don't have the sort of the high class appellation. Just go for the straight Calvados. Just go for the ones made in column stills, on the crazy carts that people bring from village to village. These are great. These are very approachable. I respect these. That doesn't mean we're friends. um, and that's kind of what I got out of this. This is a really interesting spirit for me, and I mean it's a great alternative. Um, it's a great place to just learn, where apple and pear spirit can go when it's sort of unplugged. And if you're looking for a way to get into cheap, relatively inexpensive older spirit, I mean, 70 euros or so is you're not going to do a whole lot better than that. So Calvados, that's about all I got. I'm going to hunt down for more of these and see what I have to say about them. Thanks so much for watching. I hope some of this was informative, and cheers.